we broke down the Tomodachi Life Living the Dream trailer. This was a video recently uploaded on the channel. You guys are the coolest, most of you. You left some amazing comments. I really do appreciate it. We're gonna get into so many of those, but I did just want to say, yes, so I'm human, right? I accidentally said in the video, hey, backwards compatibility is not confirmed yet for Switch 2. It is. It was in the trailer when they first showed off and revealed the Switch 2. It's something that even if they didn't do that, I feel like we all would have known. Nintendo great with their backwards compatibility for the most part, but yeah, it's just luckily only 2 of you guys pointed that out of many comments. But aside from just me, I'm a human, I know I was sleep deprived and I was tired, but you guys, it's I'm a dad, I have 3 YouTube channels, I have work outside of this. Just to explain to you guys, my other 2 YouTube channels are completely different audience. There's no mixing, and so for one of those I was actually recording a video just before the Nintendo Direct all about the new Pokemon TCG Pocket. They released a new expansion set, so going over that, and then also running my own business. I just want you to know, if you ever were kind of thinking of writing kind of a schmuck comment, you never know what people's situation is on that other side, and my dad is not doing too well, his health. There's just so much that I deal with on a second-to-second basis. Okay, so you guys don't want to hear about that. The other thing, I cannot believe this was actually not in any comments, but I don't know why I didn't say this. Look at the Mii. One of the most obvious examples is right here with the gigantism in this presumably dream, of course. The Miis have ears. Isn't that nuts? How often do you see Miis with ears? I know someone's got an answer for that, but okay. I think in editing I'm going to show you guys comments right here, so to give you a nice little shout out, but let's try to go through it, man. We're going to find out some new things, maybe come up with some theories and some ideas, but hey, this says, about the items sitting on decks. I wouldn't be surprised if those items / the default colors of the houses would be different depending on the personality of the Mii that lives there, just like the default wallpapers in Tomodachi Life. Someone else was saying probably linked to their favorite color, how their default clothes were. Yeah, I love comments like these because sometimes I get a little bit fuzzy with the 3DS days especially, but Tomodachi Life on that. My thought though is just that if there's not customization of the color of the house, yeah, this is a good idea and everything and it's a good theory on it, but I just wonder, when we saw the quick building, or maybe the renovations building, it's you have to wonder, can we customize it ourselves? But either way, it does seem like we will possibly be able to move these houses around, which would be great. We'll get into that in a second. Some people were mentioning the name Tomario. This comment, it said, it's very similar in color scheme and appearance to Japan's Saiseria. Don't hold me to any accent. I think for me it's English and Spanish, so those are just kind of my default accents. And someone else was mentioning that it could be a pizzeria. And so ultimately, I think we can definitively say, I even kind of put a question mark on my breakdown video, the analysis before this, but I do think that we can pretty much almost confirm that this really is the cafe. This is that diner. It's so similar to the first game's cafe, which does make me think it's kind of a fusion of the word cafeteria. So I like this one. They pointed out at 1247 saying it's a skirt. So this is about wear, the clothing place. And so, they were saying that it's a skirt, and I do agree, actually, in the video, I was saying, maybe it's a hat, maybe it's even a wig or something like that, because it does seem like this could also be where you get your hair done. But I think at minimum, definitely your clothing, and maybe it is true, more feminine clothing and masculine clothing, and I don't know, who knows? They'll probably label it though as all, at least I feel you think about Splatoon and whatnot, they don't say male and female, they just kind of say body 1, body 2 is almost how it feels, for both Inkling and Octoling. I guess they don't say body 1, body 2, but it's just that's actually a Power World thing. So you could put on the male voice, quote unquote, but then put on the whatever would be the female body, in Power World. But other games do that too. It's a lot of, I think the trend might be going that way. And again, you guys were great, so nobody that was in the first video said anything about this, but in that first breakdown that I did, I was saying, hey, I'm not looking for anybody's politics on all this stuff. It's just, you gotta think about the same-sex marriage issue that was with the first game and Nintendo. I was just simply reporting the facts, so thank you guys for understanding that. But just to simply report the facts again and kind of see where the trend is going, that does seem to be the trend nowadays. My God, Splatoon 3 people got on me hardcore whenever I pointed this out. This would be back in 2022, but okay. Yes, this comment, this is what I said in the first breakdown. They're saying hey, the treasures that they were fighting with are from the original game. They said, I've collected every treasure to know that. This is what was new to me, though, is they're saying that the piñata and the ship bottle were not in the American release, which, of course, then that kind of goes outside of my knowledge. You know, that was really my knowledge base, was all about the NA versions. But yeah, the comment was just kind of adding, like, they're either completely new or from one of the localized games. And so my thought, again, is that they're new. I even have since looked up, like, I could not find, actually, the ship and the llama, but I do have to confess that I don't have a lot of time to be able to look up deeper and deeper and deeper. But yeah, several comments about, like, hey, right price, RITE, you know, saying, like, it looks like the new pawn shop, or some people saying, like, it is the new pawn shop. And, you know, in the video, I kind of kept that open. Like, I did suggest it, of course, so I gave that option, but I was also saying, like, hey, maybe it could also be, like, one or two possibilities of other buildings, but I agree, and this was thumbs up, like, 30-something times plus whenever we screenshot this. I don't know. It'll be up to date, hopefully, because I plan to show you guys comments in the editing, but, yeah, it's just, like, now that I've slept on it and stuff, it was a lot of similarities kind of between the pawn shop's windows from the 3DS, and then now this, like, they, you know, I called it a stained glass, but it is a little bit more just sort of these beautiful windows, lots of different colors. And so again, lots of comments, a lot of people talking about the number of Miis, like, what's that limit? You know, a lot of people noting the number 20, but also saying, like, 100 being the limit in the 3DS, and that's, like, to me, that's pretty good, especially for 3DS, but, like, you have to wonder if they are going to expand it or even go to 100. Can we then expand the space of the island or the area that we're living in? You know, is there going to be an apartment? You know, some of this stuff was in the comments from you guys, but also from me. I love the back and forth, so, like, yes, let's absolutely talk about this game and let's continue. Like, maybe we could do this kind of video, like, every month, every few weeks, I don't know. Whatever you guys think. But I love y'all's ideas, y'all's dialogue. You guys are the coolest. But this part is interesting, is what I would say. It's just, is it like that it's limited at the start, like maybe 10 or 20, and then can we expand to more over time? So here's a comment, you know, saying the girl with the flowers is the only house with those flowers, and in the above shot with the logo, I don't see the flowers. That's what this person was saying. And in that shot, yes, where she's sniffing the flowers, you see the restaurant or the cafe. We did point that out in my breakdown. But yes, I'm so glad, first off, so many people are hype about this. I love it. But yeah, what I essentially said to that, I'll show you guys, is that the flowers are there, I think, in the above shot from up above, all the way on the right side. I left a little timestamp in my video, but we'll show it on screen. And, you know, when you, like, zoom in and look at it on the level of the Miis, right there from the ground, like, those flowers do look a little bit bigger, I guess. I don't know. I think this is interesting, too, because, like, most of the time, I would say most of you guys were not critiquing the game, really, you know, didn't have much criticism, which is fine, but also it's fine to criticize it. Like, that's okay. Let's not be like, you know, remember the Pokemon? I'm, like, in the Pokemon community on my other channel, so of course, like, I remember it well, but do you guys remember? It's like, if someone criticized the tree, you'd have two sides. You know, some people are saying that Game Freak is so lazy and has all this money and blah, 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 and they are designing it poorly or whatever, and then the other people that would just, like, slaughter you if you criticized it. You know, it's, I just, personally, I'm not a fan of these, like, extremes, and so let's keep Tomodachi life, you know, cool here, but, you know, that was an interesting thing, because I didn't think about it at all. You know, it just means that I'm not really looking at it too much as, like, a criticism, but yeah, in the 3DS, it was very, like, it seemed like you were on this, like, hill. It did look kind of cool, but, I'm not too concerned with it my own self, but I think more about the size of it. Like, I would actually personally not care if it was flat. I just, if it's super small and then we could have, like, 100, how would that work? Like, would it look like an ant mound? You know what I mean? A whole bunch of ants of Miis walking around. And so I was saying, like, the question is, can we, like, almost terraform the space like an Animal Crossing New Horizons? You know, I wonder how much can we truly customize in the town or island? And is there gonna be potentially, like, another living area? Like, so there's the island, and then, like, would the Mii apartments, quote unquote, would that be, like, in the city? Remember how I pointed out the background being kind of that static background? Could we, like, go to two different areas? I don't know. This is nice. I just wanted to interject. Someone said, I hope you do a playthrough, mate. Like, I would love to watch it. Yes, I'm gonna be doing a playthrough, you guys. I'm gonna include you if you're, like, part of my community. I got a section in my Discord, so please check out the description for not only that, but also the first video that I keep referencing where we broke down the trailer initially. That'll also be in, like, the top pinned comment and everywhere that I can, but I'll put the Discord server, the link to that. It's gonna be a little quiet until we get to 2026 and the release of it. I mean, maybe not. Maybe you guys can help me liven it up more, but yeah, I'll have a section section for sharing your Mii. Hopefully there's just codes and we could just straight up download the Miis. But yes, thank you. So more Miis, more fun. And yeah, occasionally people saying, you know, like finally more hair, or like, hey, they have this customization. Some people even going so far as to say what, you know, I was wondering. This is a question mark to me, but some of the people were saying like straight up confirming it. Listen, I'm pretty sure we don't have confirmation of this exactly, but there are like little hints where people were saying maybe this is just like Miitopia and taking that same exact system of makeup, quote unquote. You know, Miitopia was our other Mii game, very clearly. But the point of bringing this up is just like, first off, I love the highlights. So just having more of that hair option and more hair in general to choose from with the highlights too, that is amazing. You know, 100% thumbs up. But also, you do have to wonder if that makeup system is applied from Miitopia, because if so, then it's a done deal. Like, this game will feed every fandom. They'll be eating, let them cook. And so yeah, maybe there were a few comments that were on this thought of like the quick build. So going back to the quick build building, which by the way, was that a green hard hat? Nobody said that, but I was wondering. I actually said that in my initial recording and I cut that out because I was like, nah, I'm just not confident enough that that is a hard hat, but I'll go ahead and just throw it out there. You guys, is that like a green hard hat? It's not yellow though. But anyway, the comment, you know, kind of saying like, hey, do we get like requests from the islanders that they could make to just build amenities like a seesaw, or, you know, we see the benches in here, we see the flowers within that brick kind of pot circle, the railings, the lamps, you know, what is it exactly? Even the trees. And so yeah, I like that a lot of people were talking about the quick build though, and likely even just maybe even aside from the quick build, we should just say customization of the island, of putting buildings where you want, or at least maybe the houses, I don't know, some kind of level of customization, right? I mean, also from this crane shot with the logo and stuff, look at how many other houses are kind of down on the bottom right. Like, it does seem like this goes on. Aside from that, it's certainly a fascinating idea also that someone mentioned that the houses, they do have like a little handle on the top of them. I'll admit that that was something I saw, but I didn't think about being a handle, right? Like, I just thought of it in general being the design of the house. But yeah, you know, the quick build also shows like a hand with the block, right? So like, are we gonna have a section essentially where we have a hand as like the icon? Think about like a cursor, like a mouse cursor. Also with Switch 2, some people have seen the leaks and rumors say that there's like a mouse-like function, you know, with the controller, or I don't know. So I mean, like, listen, this could open up to lots of possibilities, but the point being at the very base level, maybe just the fact that you can either grab the houses, or this person's comment even said like, look into them, you know, you pull the handle and you pull the roof off or whatever. Like, that's interesting. I mean, I'm open to any of these ideas, man. There's so many ideas. And yeah, some people noted the city that I was talking about. Can we visit it? Can't even remember if during this recording right now that I'm talking about, right here, right now, did I just say this or talk about this earlier? But yeah, like the city, I said in the first video, it was kind of reminiscent of like real life Manhattan or somewhere in New York, kind of the city where you can look, isn't it the High Line? You guys, I'm not super familiar with New York. I've been to NYC twice in my life, pretty brief, and essentially the principle of like standing on one side of the water, you have the water then between you and a city skyline or some kind of cityscape. That's just a common beautiful theme of some like big cities, at least in America, but I can imagine elsewhere too. But yeah, like some people are wondering, can we go and visit that? You know, in the 3DS Tomodachi life, like we could go to other places too. There was like little visiting area, and like, of course, the difference between Mii apartments and then if you started a family and stuff, like when you were married, you'd have your house. The only thing I was going to point out as well before we end with the overhead shot is just some of the activities. Like, obviously there is chatter. We kind of knew this, so like I don't really need to say this verbally, but just in case you wanted it like confirmed to say all things here, is just that yes, there is that sort of robot talk, that voice that I love from the first game. They're keeping that.
How refreshing.
But then there's also sort of the more gibberish talk, you know, you see like the little talk bubbles and just hear that. That's also going on in this overhead shot, and that's kind of the audio that we hear. shot from, I think it's two people walking, because you see a hat on one of them, and then the, I guess, blonde hair, right? I'll have to zoom in. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. But then also there's these two, I'm presuming girls chasing each other right there, and one of them actually falls, so they like trip on the beach. There's people just sitting there relaxing, some people sitting alone, some people sitting together, but also sitting up against the trees. So some of that going on. Like, I feel like if you can do kind of this overhead view and just watch the island, again, if there was like 100 on this one island, it would be crazy. So that's why I do think you'd have to be able to expand if it's gonna be that big, or there's gonna be other places to live. But okay, let me stay focused here. It's just that it would be fun to just kind of watch. Like, I just want to see what all of them are gonna do, you know? Set the Sims on just idle autonomy and just watch them go. But you guys, please leave your ideas and everything in the comments. And again, should we do this kind of regularly? Much love and thanks for viewing.